Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to go over Efforce token WOZX. So as you can see, it's mostly green, but it does have some areas of concern such as extreme price movement and token distribution and inflation. So there are things to be concerned about. However, I did invest and I wanted to get this out pretty fast because this token is being hyped right now, and I actually think there's a good reason for that hype. So I did ultimately invest, and I reached the conclusion that in the short term, I think it's going to perform compared to other projects, and so that's why I did a quick investment. But that is a gamble, and you must understand that that is the case when you do these projects. As far as the longer run, I do think it's going to perform in the longer run as well. I think that in about a 24-month span or more, I do think this thing will be one of the better performers of cryptos. I think it will be within the upper 40 percentile or 30 percentile, and so that is my assessment on this project. Okay, and so now I'm going to get into why I think that is the case. So what will this project solve in the future, or what is it currently doing? The project is it's a energy efficiency market platform, and what they do is they allow for companies to make the energy transition to more to save money by, or become more efficient, by bridging that gap between a decision process to becoming more energy efficient. So there's a lack of capital to handle energy savings upgrades. That's what these are the problems that they aim to solve. They said there's a lack of capital, and there's a lack of confidence for those who want to invest in energy savings transitions, to those who want to spend the capital. And so that's where they are. The Efforce, they're a public immutable records which allow for certifying the savings and proving the whole, making this process where you can have the confidence that when you're investing in an energy savings platform, you're going to see the returns, or an honest reporting of what actually happens. So they're allowing for this energy transition to take place. So here's an example. I'm going to give you two examples so that this will become clear to you guys. I'm the only person that's doing this, by the way, so if you guys are following the channel, you're lucky, because it took me a while to figure this out. I think I'm right about this, and so this is what I think their what their business model is going to look like. A lot of YouTubers are not going into that quite yet. I have not seen anyone give an example. So here it is. So step one, the company places a request for an energy upgrade on the platform, and then the team at Efforce analyzes the funds needed and the expected return, internal rate of return for that investment, and you create a project on the platform which seeks capital for the energy transition project. In exchange, you get future savings, and those savings are tokenized and go to token holders and the investors and the business that allowed for the transition. So to give it a clear example, let's give a real world example. So let's say you have this big corporation, and it has $100 million USD annual expenditures, or it's expecting, these numbers, don't have to be exactly right with the market, but it's just for this example. So let's say they're using 100 billion kilowatt hours a year. And this is what their expected costs are, and there's this new energy efficiency platform, and in order to make that transition, they need to spend $100 million. So they'll see a 20% reduced cost expected annually. For someone who can invest, you could see if you made a contract for 20 years, you would see a 3x of your money and a 15% return over those 20 years. So that's what Efforce would do, is they'd create a contract to allow for this situation to happen. The business would not have to make any effort for this to happen. They would just hand all of this effort, this transition process, over to Efforce, and then they would stop thinking about it. They wouldn't have to hire any team or anything like that. And what they would do is they'd make these contracts for buying future energy in the future, and they would get like just a partial reduction in their energy bill. Oh, like if I buy 20% of if I make this 20-year contract, it's like an options contract, and I get to buy my energy for 5% cheaper over time, some reduced cost. And I don't have to do anything else. I don't have to hire a team or anything for this transition. I just get to put no effort in it, hire no team, and someone else handles it. And I see a sudden reduction. All I do is I pay it forward, and I don't even have to pay all of it up front. I just pay as I go. But now my bill is 5% cheaper because I've reached this contract. And so starting when the project launches, right when the all of the facilities go online, suddenly my bill is 5% cheaper, and I didn't have to do any effort. I didn't have to raise funds or et cetera, and to do all of this process. So token holders could so let's say with my example that I gave, the way it would actually work is token holders would receive 1% of the dividends, and the investors would agree at some amount, probably something like 10%, and the company would receive a 4% reduction in costs. For doing absolutely nothing, and for just handing over this process to Efforce, and Efforce would do all the work of the analysis, etc., and they would just take care of the whole thing. So no task force would be needed in that company, and the company could focus on its core competence. It's important for a company to focus on its core competence and not get diverged in all these different projects. So they wouldn't have to hire anyone or to do any of this. They just can let someone else who specializes in this do what they do best. So the project represents ownership of the contract, and you would get something like a 10% annualized yield, and the company pays a reduced bill. So all of this is a very viable business model, and this whole entire market is a very large market. It's like the market is a $250 billion market, and it is growing by 10% annually. So you could see that there's plenty. This is a massive market opportunity for this project. So so they would only need 66 million to have a annualized income to be $1 billion market cap. I think that this project is going to be much bigger than that. And so that is why I'm so bullish on this project. And it is also Steve Wozniak that is associated with the project, and I will get into that in a moment. So I expect this project to perform. I expect future increase in demand for the token. Because their current niche that they have live, I couldn't find anything about their current partnerships. However, I did find that Aether CO2 accepts their token for their services, and that is where all the team comes from. This Aether CO2. The team is basically from that project, and this project is a same business model as Efforce, but Efforce is in the cryptocurrency space, allowing for cryptocurrency transparency to allow for the business model to be more efficient. So, and Aether is putting up their projects on this platform. So that's what's happening right now. So yes, there is a current niche, and yes, it is live, and yet it's doing stuff in the background, and that will be realized in the token value in the future. So the token used for services and governance, yes, it is. It's used for contributors who want to be contributors for these investments. They lock up a lot of Wozniak's tokens on the platform. And so that you're going to see a significant restriction in supply because of that. So that is one of the token models, is that the tokens are needed for to be locked up to use the platform for investing in these things. And also you get 1% of the energy savings paid out like a dividend to the token holders. This is not available in the U.S., by the way. We're at the land of the free, and that is not available to you. You are not allowed to make money in the U.S. You are not in a free country. So that's just something to be noted, because it's like a dividend paying stock. And there is a governance component to this, and you control that dividend rate with the governance part of the token. So once again, if you control the funds, you control if you control the funds, you have a vote. You do have power, and that is why I say the token does have a governance component, and so it is a powerful contributor to the token's price performance in what I expect. So as far as the value target market is large, it's a $250 billion market, growing 10% annually. I expect it to continue to grow as well, because the world is getting more energy demand, and energy efficiency is not something that's going to stop. So, I expect this market just to keep growing. So there's a huge market opportunity for that. Market excitement from price momentum more likely. I do expect that to be the case. Steve Wozniak has, he created the second biggest, or I think the biggest company in the world, Apple, if not Amazon is biggest, I don't know. But that's one of the reasons I'm bullish about this project. He's putting his face on this, and there's countless pictures of him working with the team. So I know he's actually contributing to this. He's not selling his face for it. And so, if he has not promoted this on his Twitter yet, but he has 600,000 followers, and if he decided to do that, that could be extremely bullish. And so that's why I put that as bullish. He might do that in the future. Who knows? He might not. But, that's entirely possible. The project itself is in the middle of the range with 19,000 followers, and the Telegram is in the middle of the range as well. YouTube exposure is actually low. No one's talking about it on YouTube. Very low viewership there. So it looks like social media awareness is still relatively low. However, today I'm seeing a lot of hype today, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to get this out. I try to get it out as soon as possible. You guys should consider looking at my Telegram if you want to get my immediate thoughts. When I first became aware of this project, I made sure my Telegram is aware of it as well. And so before first marketing campaign, it's in the midst of its hype right now. So I'm going to just put that as green, even though it could, who knows if we're already over the hype. Current awareness is low before the hype stage. So like I said, it's currently in its hype right now. Token is hard to acquire. It does have low liquidity on Uniswap, so I think that means that we are early. That's a sign there as well. But let's get into some of the negative things. The token, is extremely bullish. It's up 3,400% in like 1 week. According to many articles, they were selling their token at 10 cents at one point. On Uniswap, it was never that low. It's only doubled since it was listed on Uniswap. However, maybe it was at lower rates on HitBCC or whatever. So that is very aggressive territory. So that is something to consider and to show a lot of caution. It's entirely possible that it will have significant pullback. So it's basically straight up. It's very likely they don't have a pullback. If it does, I did buy at $3. If it goes lower, I will buy more. That is just my take on this project. So I don't know if it's going to go lower. That is my take. So 20% of supply circulating, that's not good. That's a negative thing from token release point of view. There's going to be 125% inflation the first year, or 25% of the supply released, and then 12% of supply released next year, which is a 27% inflation, and then it's going to drop rapidly after that. So just the first 2 years have hyperinflation, so I'm going to put that as red. As far as upcoming events, they said that they're doing marine stuff, onboarding marine projects right now. And they also are doing beginning of energy efficiency sharing, etc. So there's, and also if you look at the project, they have Steve Wozniak on the project's Twitter saying that there's some big announcements coming. So I expect in the short run there's some major stuff going on. Okay, so money needed to move price up to decrease. I do expect it's going to take less effort because of those lockups. Tokens to sell side to decrease. I expect that to be the case despite these red forces. As far as the low market cap, it's in middle of the range market cap, but with the team involved, I would expect it to be a high market cap. But I put yellow because it is it's in middle of the range right now. Niche, they do have their niche live with the Aether CO2 projects using this platform. Okay, so I'm going to get into the team. Impressive achievements. Steve Wozniak, co-founder of Apple, biggest company in the world. Many breakthroughs in computing and computational design, chip design, etc. So he's one of the strongest. He's the strongest person in crypto that I've seen. And so I put him as a 10. Just like Alex Mashinsky of Celsius, he's a 10 out of 10 with the leadership component. Evidence of ability to solve difficult problems. Team has that. Jack Capo Vicetti, the Aether CO2, and Sergio Calanani. That this company has 700 million in sales, so they're big players themselves. Impressive team. So that Aether company is no joke, being at 700 million. And this is some more about them. They got the national Innovation Award from the president of Italy, and started programming at Jack Capo. He started programming at the age of 10, so they have a talented team. Strategic partnerships. So they did have a partnership with Huobi. So it looks like Huobi might be taking a business model where they're trying to do kind of what TrustSwap is doing, where they're working with projects to get exposure and listings, etc. early. That kind of thing. So I expect there's going to be major announcements in the future as well. So I expect that to be because of the team's strength. So I expect all of that to be strong in the future. As far as the governance is concerned, 1% minimum of dividend from any projects, potential savings, and control of the total energy savings returned to token holders is given to governance. So the token is in control of how it's a 1% minimum, but the token holders are in control of what that number is. They can make it bigger if they want. And so that's basically the dividend. That's the service charge for using the platform. The service charge for using the Efforce platform for listing your energy savings project is going to have that is going to have that service charge, and that's going to be paid to token holders. So and since the token holders are in control of the fee, they're in control of money, they're in control of an important part of governance. And so I do say that that is a contributing factor. And I do expect important people to hold the token in the future. There's allocation for developer compensation in the future. So it's all specified. Developer motivation is going to be strong. I expect it to be the case. Clear mission statement as far as why they're doing this. Steve Wozniak stated in a very clear statement about his interview, I started to worry about my children's future, and then he goes on to talking about why he's getting into energy, because he's concerned about the future. And so if that's not a why, I think that's a strong enough why for me right there. Long-term vision and strategy. To transform the energy sector and make business models for allowing the transition to renewable or lower cost energy factors more feasible for business models to take place, and for investors to benefit from that transition. So evidence that the management team is trustworthy and that they will follow through with what they say. This is one of the most important projects. No project can succeed with dishonest team. If the team doesn't do what they promise, then you're going to ultimately lose your investment. And so that's one of the most important things to prove. And Steve Wozniak, he doesn't have to be doing this. He's already rich. He's doing this because he wants to see it done. And I think that he is trustworthy on that level, because he's not doing this for money. He doesn't need money. He's already a very rich guy. So I think he doesn't have that. I think he's motivated to do this. Okay, so high value upgrades, value of service provided to increase. I do expect that to be the case. All right, and then this contributing over here. Best option of the competition. So it's got a better token model than Energy Web, in my opinion, but it's also going for kind of a different segment. It's than Energy Web is going for. They're going for a unique approach, in my opinion, with that business model that I showed you. And since they have such a powerful team, I'm going to put that they are the best. They have one of the co-founder of the biggest company in the world on their team. So as far as I'm concerned, that's the best option of the competition. So their target market is large business models. So that's going to be the major player in this is large business models. That's who their target. A lot of their target market is to bring a lot of those big business models on board. They have allocated funds for future marketing campaigns, so you don't have to worry about that. As far as external transfer catalyst inhibitor, so people leaving the platform when it's live, I don't expect it to be the case because much of this is going to be through contracts. Once you have a contract, you're going to honor that contract, and that's an instrument that will exist on the platform. So that's not a biggest factor to worry about. So the sales team is basically what's going to work here, and I know that the sales team is probably going to do a good job because there's so many, it's like solar, it sells itself in many cases. So if you do the work, if you do this work, all you got to do is find, you find a business and you say, we could save you 5% on your energy bill. All you got to do is write this contract with us, and suddenly your bill is reduced 5%. And you'll be like, you don't have to do any more work. You're going to do it. So there's hardly any barrier for that to happen. So there's a huge market, and I don't think they're going to have any problem onboarding customers. So I see more people using this project being an absolute factor. And, this is irrelevant because none of it was used. I expect this project to have a lot of people involved in the future. So that will pull liquidity into liquidity pools, thus pulling tokens off the market and being easy to use. It's going to be aimed at businesses, so they'll be competent enough to use it. Tokens per person to decrease, expect that to be the case. And that is, I put that inflation is going to be high. I think I covered everything. Yeah, I wanted to get this out pretty fast because this thing is hyping majorly right now. And I did invest, and hopefully it actually pulls back. I wouldn't mind getting at a cheaper price, but I don't think it will. But, nothing is for certain. Obviously, it's up a lot. Like I said, in the short run, I expect it to outperform cryptos, all of cryptos, pretty much in the very short run because it's being hyped right now. But I also expect it to perform in the long run because of this extremely powerful management team that's involved. And I did see Steve Wozniak working with the team. There's lots of video of him working with them. Now, one of the criticisms is that potentially Steve Wozniak is just, putting his name up for, rent or whatever. But I don't think that's the case. He's not someone to do that. He's wealthy enough. I don't think that's going to be the case. So that's my assessment. I think that the management on this is powerful. I think that the market is powerful. I think that it's an amazing project all around. And that's why I wanted to get this